Okay, welcome everybody. It is Kari, your empowerment coach. I am teaching you to take control of your life, your health, and your happiness. And this is week number 2 of 10, a series of special interviews I am conducting, leading us into the new year. We've got a lot of new things happening next year I'm super excited about, but this is a special journey I'm going on here. I'm bringing guests on to share their stories. I've got a special guest joining me tonight.
Alrighty, so while we're waiting for Kareem to join, I'll just share again. This is a 10-week series of videos that I'm doing. It's to share stories of people who have decided to take back control of their lives when they've realized, they looked around their life and they realized that something wasn't quite working for them the way that they wanted to. Hi, thank you for joining. So they realized something in their life wasn't quite working the way that they wanted to, so they decided to make a pretty big change in their life. So I'm waiting for my guest to join me today, but if he doesn't, in the meantime here, I will gladly share my story, to talk a little bit about my own story here. So I was in corporate America. I started out as an engineer, got into a job in corporate America, was working my way up the ladder there, decided I wanted to make that move into leadership, and I was really kind of excited about that and working right along, moving along down that path. And then one day I found myself just completely burned out. I was not enjoying my life anymore. I wasn't having a good time, and I had to do a little bit of soul searching to figure out what it was that wasn't working for me. And ultimately, there was a lot of stuff that wasn't quite working for me, so I made some big changes, and I ended up leaving that corporate job. And now here I am, 5 years later. I've moved across the country. I'm doing my own thing now. I'm now fully self-employed as a coach here, teaching people again how to take back control of their life and their happiness, figuring out how to have those difficult conversations with themselves, understanding what isn't working for them so that we can put together some plans to actually make those forward moves and get to a point where you actually like your life again, because that's the goal here, is we want to like our life. So, if you have any questions for me or about my story or what's going on here, but that's what it was. I found myself completely burned out. I just was waking up in the morning and I was really uninterested in what I had going on. I didn't want to go to work. I didn't want to participate. I didn't want to engage. I felt really disconnected from everything that I was doing. I found myself living a life that didn't feel like it was mine. I felt like I was making choices for other people. I was making choices to make other people happy. And ultimately, I was just wiped out. I was exhausted. I didn't want anything to do with it anymore. And so, I definitely had to make some difficult decisions, have a lot of hard conversations with myself and say, okay, how do we correct this? What is it that isn't working for you exactly? And how can we make those changes, start over again, and then move forward in a way that's going to be sustainable for me? So it took a lot of work. It took me 5 years to get here, but I finally have done that, and I've been able to live a life now that feels really good for me. I'm really excited about my life. I'm excited to be here every day and about the things that I've got going on, what I'm looking forward to. And so it's been interesting, though, following a path that is not what people would consider to be perhaps normal or traditional, and I tried that, I did that, I didn't like it, it didn't work for me. So it is kind of an interesting journey now to feel like I'm starting over again. I'm in my mid-30s here, and to feel like, okay, I'm starting over from scratch. And those are the kinds of thoughts and concepts that I help people work through, is, that we're not actually starting over from scratch. I've got more than 30 years of experience behind me, and I'm taking all of what I've learned there, and I'm applying it to this next part of my life. And I think that that's a message that's really difficult for people to grab onto, is we're not really starting over. You might be blowing everything up and saying, okay, I tried all these things, none of that worked for me, and I'm going to do all these other completely different things, but you're not really starting over. We've got to pay attention to what got us there in the first place. We've got to pay attention to the skills and the knowledge that we have, and figure out how to apply this and say, okay, I'm not really at zero. I know a lot of things. I just have to figure out how to make these, transferable skills. It's something I talk about a lot. But how can I take what I do know, as an engineer, how can I apply that to the life that I'm doing now? How can everything, oh, there's my guest, he's joining. All right, we're going to bring him on right now. Okay. Okay, well, let's see here.
There we
There he
go.
is. There he is. I have been waiting for you. I was trying to hold the audience's attention.
I see. Thank you so much. I appreciate you totally.
Yeah, well, welcome. Thank you. No, thank you for joining. I'm super excited to have you here. I was just telling everybody a little bit about my story.
Yes.
But I think it's such a great message to share with people about the way that you just kind of take a 180 sometimes in your life, but that doesn't always mean that you're starting from nothing. You know, you've got to take your experience and apply that, and I am so excited to share your story today. So thank you so much for joining me.
Absolutely. As I'm trying to tag some folks and get some folks on. So this has been a crazy day. So I'm excited. Hopefully you can hear me okay. We don't have too much of a reverb, do we?
I can hear you just fine, yeah. So why don't you go ahead, introduce yourself, make sure that we all know who we're talking to.
Gotcha. So my name is Kareem Ellis, speaker, teacher, trainer, #1 breakthrough strategist, author of best-selling Amazon book, GPS, My Success. We took it #1 in 7 different categories, business related. I have been speaking on stages for 15 years. I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years. I'm celebrating my 20th year this year. I'm full of life. I'm full of passion. I just conquered one of my fears by jumping out of an airplane at 10,000 feet.
Oh, amazing.
And we are on rock and roll mode. So the season we're in right now, we're in a season of conquering all fear. That's the
amazing
season we're in right now. So I'm ecstatic to be here with you. I'm ecstatic to talk to your listeners and drop some jewels and some nuggets. I'm telling people, listen. Get your treasure chest together. We're going to drop some jewels today.
Awesome. Amazing. I'm so excited to have you here. I cannot wait to share what you've got to tell us. I've been listening to some of your lives when I'm available, or I watch them later and getting on, and I'm just so excited. So everybody who's watching this now and later, we've got a good one on here right now. So thank you so much again. Why don't you go ahead? Can you give us an idea of where you started before, where does your story really begin?
Ooh, wow. So my story actually starts at about the age of 26, right? At the age of 26, I went through one of the world's worst breakups you can possibly imagine, right? And this was a high school sweetheart. And part of the problem for me was simply this. With most people, most parents will tell their kids, I don't care if you're in love with it or not, go off to school, right? Get your education, see the world. You haven't met enough people to know that this is the one, right? And like many young folks in love and hard-headed, I told my parents, y'all don't know what y'all talking about. I know what I'm doing. And so I dropped out of college and did the settle down thing, only for the relationship to go way south, right? And so now I'm in a predicament where I got to face one of the greatest fears known to a young man's mindset, which is we've broken up. You can't stay under the same roof. I'm the person that had to leave. And now I got a choice. I can either go back home and hear my parents say, I told you so. Or I can do the opposite. I can turn tail and run. And so I slept out of my car for about 3 months. I kid you not. For about 3 months, I either slept out the car, or I would go to my job. I knew that they shut things down around 9 o'clock. So I'd wait out in the parking lot, look up at the 3rd floor window. I'll wait till the cleaning crew would turn the lights off. And then I'd shimmy on up the back stairs, and I'll make a pallet right there under my cubicle, my computer terminal. And I would go to sleep. I'd wake up about 5 in the morning, set my alarm clock, get in the bathroom, clean myself up, get the sleep out my eyes, and then sit down at my computer terminal. And my boss would walk in around 6:30, 7 o'clock and say, Ellis, that's why I like you so much. You are always the first to arrive. And I go, you have no clue. I've been sleeping here all night. You have no clue, right? So eventually, my older brother said, man, you got to go back home. It's not safe if your job finds out you're fired, and anybody can walk up on you middle of the night and rob and kill you. So I had to tuck my tail between my legs and go back home and ask for help. And here's a side note, because I'm going to be dropping some nuggets all the way through this presentation, right? One of my favorite quotes from my mentor, Mr. Les Brown, he says, ask for help, not because I'm weak. Ask for help because I want to remain strong. I'm going to say that again. Ask for help, not because you were weak. Because there's some folks on here right now that are trying to rebound back after that horrendous year called COVID 2020, right? The COVID season, the shut down goals, shut down dreams, left some people without jobs, left people behind on their bills, people losing their cars, losing their homes, being evicted. I'm telling you right now, in your journey, there will be seasons where the storm is stronger than you, and you want to ask somebody for shelter or an umbrella, and you cannot be afraid to do it. You cannot be afraid to do it. So ask for help, not because you're weak, but ask for help because you want to remain strong. And so I found myself moving back home at the age of 26. Now, we spent 18 years of our life dreaming about leaving home. At 26, I'm moving back in, and I'm watching all my peers at this point graduating, getting their degrees, saying their I do's, popping out their first kid, buying their first house. And I'm thinking, I'm so far behind the 8 ball. How do I catch up? And then I went through a state of depression. And the reason I went through a state of depression because in that relationship, I was the older of the two. So all the major bills and credit was in my name. You know, when you break up with somebody, they ain't helping you pay jack.
Right.
You on your own, right? And so I got the debt of 2 people trying to pay it with just 1 job. And then the ultimate thing happened. I got fired because my performance fell off, right? I was so depressed about everything. I couldn't stand looking at myself that the car got repossessed. The credit cards got shut down. The bank accounts got closed out for non-sufficient funds. I was running from bill collectors. And before the car got repossessed, I was literally trying to hide my car on different streets in my neighborhood, hoping they wouldn't catch them. And the worst case scenario for me, I looked over everything and I felt like there was no way out. And I want you guys to lean into this message. I know there's someone on here that's going through this right now where they feel like I'm getting up every day. I'm putting my best foot forward. I'm putting my effort, my energy. I'm giving everything I got. And it seems like I'm not making any traction. On this day, I feel like I went 1 step ahead. And then a week later, I got knocked 5 steps back. And this is you. I want you to understand something. I want you to lean into this part of the message. My story got so dark that I couldn't stand the face of the person I saw in the mirror. I felt like such a loser that everything I tried just kept going wrong. It kept going south. And I'm a Christian guy, right? So I'm not here to preach. I know everyone's got different religions, but I got to tell my story my way. And one of the things I've been taught and raised is an idle mind is the devil's playground. And the reason why that's so, because when you're alone with your thoughts, you'll think about anything and everything, and they typically gravitate towards the worst case scenario. And so I remember the voices at night when I would try to lay down and get comfortable, because I would literally cry myself to sleep at night just looking at my situation and my circumstances. And there would be voices telling me you should take your life. Nobody's going to miss you. I mean, look, you can't even hold down the fort right. At this point in time, I had a child, and though we weren't going through the court system for child support, I had no job, so I was still struggling to be a provider and a good parent, right? Yeah. So I'm looking at everything that I worked hard for and watching it being taken away from me. And I made my mind up, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I don't see a reason why. And maybe that'll teach the world, because some of us feel like, man, let me take myself out the equation and I'll teach the world to be so mean and nasty to me when I haven't done anything to the world. I wrestled with it, because even though I knew I wanted out, I wanted the pain to stop. I just wanted that internal pain to stop. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a little pumped when it comes to pain. So here you are saying I want out, but now you're thinking, so how do you do it where it's not going to be painful? You know, do you get in the car and hook up a hose to the back of the muffler and try to suffocate yourself that way? Like, I'm running through different scenarios of how it's going to work out. And I remember that night that I was going to make my decision to do it the next day. I remember sitting on the couch with tears in my eyes, rolling down the back of my cheek as I laid back looking at the ceiling. And I just cried out to God and said, listen, if you can give me any reason, and I mean any reason why I should stick around, I need to know it tonight. If I don't get it tonight, I'm out. That night I had the most vivid dream I've ever had in my life. Wow. It was me at my own funeral. Now, a couple things took place. I got levity now because I can laugh at the situation. Number one, when I popped up at my own funeral, I had to check the gear, right? Because I got to make sure, because you know when you die, whatever they bury you in, that's your ghost costume, right? That's what you risk your for eternity. So I have to check to make sure don't bury me in nothing stupid now. Don't have me looking goofy, right? Okay. But the second thing is I want to know who's at my funeral. Because there's certain people you expect in your mind, And I turned around and all the normal suspects there, the family had all shown up. But what blew my mind was the church was packed with folks I've never seen before. So I remember asking God, who are all these people? He said nothing. He took me outside the church. When I got outside the church, the parking lot was full of cars. I looked, the parking lot was full of cars, and cars were stretching all the way around the block. And I'm puzzled. And I go, who are all these people? Because I don't know none of them, right? Why would they be here for me? I see no value in my life right now. Why would they be here for me? And the voice says, these are all the people you're going to impact while you're here. You wanted me to give you a reason why you shouldn't take your life. I just gave it to you. When I woke up that next day, I had so much clarity. One of the biggest problems that most of us face is understanding what's our God-given purpose. That means what is the reason why I'm here? Some of you working at jobs that have nothing to do with your purpose, and you're unhappy, you're unsatisfied, you can't figure out why, because you're not walking in the very thing you've been created and uniquely designed to do. And I say unique because just like a fingerprint, there's only one of you. Right? There's something you've been put here and placed and assigned to do. Until you figure out what that purpose is, you can try to fill it with jobs, you can try to fill it with money, you can try to fill it with relationships and friendships, you can go out drinking, smoking, getting high every night, and you'll still feel unfulfilled every single day. Why? Because the hole in your heart can't be filled by those material items or those peoples or those relationships or situationships. It can only be filled by you identifying and walking in your God-given purpose, which is the reason why you've been put here.
That's, you know what, that's such a great point. You made a couple great points I want to reflect on and give people a chance to sit with, though, is that idea that at some point in your life, you do hit that point of depression and you do have those kinds of thoughts. I think so many people, more people than even will talk about it, have experienced that. And I just want to take a moment and acknowledge that that is something that people go through. And that's why I want to have these conversations too, is remind people and say, listen, that exact message, you're here for a reason. Okay? Just because you haven't figured it out doesn't mean that you should take yourself out of the equation. Give yourself a chance to figure it out because you have a reason. People like Kareem and I, we believe that too. We'll believe that for you until you catch up. You know? We know you've got a reason, but yeah, it's identifying that purpose and aligning yourself with it. And if you find yourself having those thoughts, you're misaligned somewhere, and that's where we got to get ourselves back on track. So I want to thank you for delivering that message. So continue on for us then. Where did we go from here?
So the next step for me was, once I figured out the purpose, now I got an argument. Because how in the world am I going to do with the thing you're telling me to do? You're telling me I'm going to impact people. How? How am I going to impact people? I'm a college dropout, right? I have a high school education, but I don't have anything further than that. Why would someone want to listen to someone who's homeless, who's had bad credit, a car's repossessed, and I have nothing of greatness to showcase? When I think of great people like my mentor, they've accomplished so much. Who's going to listen to me, right? And the thing that came to me is this. Scripture says that God oftentimes uses the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. That means for some of you out there that know there's a calling on your life to do something great, but you're struggling with it, understand. Oftentimes the people that are chosen to be in positions like this, like both of us, we don't fit the mold. We're the oddballs. We don't look like we're supposed to do the thing we're supposed to do. 90% of the time, we're not even qualified for the position, but it's our faith in the process that qualifies us, right? One of the things I love about scripture is a lot of times scripture plays out in real life. So one of my favorite stories deals with Abraham. And we know the concept of sin. A lie is sin. Murder is sin. There's no such thing as one sin that carries more weight than the other. It's all the same thing in God's eyes. But one of the things God told Abraham, after Abraham had lied directly to a king to make sure that his wife wasn't taken and he wasn't killed, he clearly said to him, man, that's my sister. Don't, you know, I ain't trying to die over this, right? I love her, but I ain't trying to die. So he tried to lie about his identity. But God made a promise to him. He said, I'm gonna make you a nation as numerous as the stars. Abraham couldn't figure out why he would do this. And God said, man, your faith has counted you righteous, not your perfection. Why am I telling you this? Because for some of you, you got blemished lives. None of us have a perfect lifestyle. Some of us got stuff from our past that we ashamed of, that we hiding from. We hoping that the skeleton bone don't come flying out the closet. because our past catches up to our present, and we believe it can wreck our future. Some of you guys aren't walking firmly after what you designed to do because you know your past history, right? You know where you've been. What I'm saying to you this, it's not your perfection that has God's attention. That's not it. It's your faith and belief that God can still utilize you. It's your faith that counts you righteous. So when I looked over my past, my mistakes, my errors, and my faults and my flaws, I have to understand something. God knew I was going to make those mistakes in life and make those choices before I made them. That did not disqualify me. The only thing that can disqualify me from greatness is making the decision not to trust the fact that he's already prepared me for my journey. And by faith, I walk after it, even though I don't look qualified. So even though I don't have the college degree, even though I don't have the zeros in the bank account, even though I'm not driving the nice cars and dressed the nicest, right? And I'm not from the right side of the place or the right side of the planet. Sometimes our skin color can disqualify. Sometimes our gender or our preference, right? Our sexual preference or our gender can disqualify us. And so a lot of times we will say, because we don't fit the mold, we're not going to walk after it. And it ain't about that. It ain't about that. You're supposed to be the oddball. That's what draws attention to you. You're not supposed to blend in. One of my favorite games growing up was the game Tetris, right? And the goal was to get the blocks to match, and then they disappear. When you fit in with everybody else, you disappear. You're not memorable. You're not designed to be memorable. You're supposed to stand out. Supposed to look at you and say, man, I can see the remnant of you. Whatever you talk about, whatever you do, wherever you walk, there's supposed to be a sweet aroma when you leave the room, so folks can't keep your name out their mouth for a good reason, right?
Oh my gosh, that is so good. Thank you so much for that. When you blend in, you disappear. That is such, our uniqueness is, if you find no other reason, no other purpose, no other way to pull yourself out of that, it's your uniqueness that brings, that's why you are here to exist, is to be uniquely you. That is such a good message. Thank you for that.
Yeah, well, it has to be said because we live in a conformity world.
We do.
The world has an image of what success looks like, and they want a cookie cutter approach. And if you don't fit this mold, the world doesn't want anything to do with you, or they convince you you can't walk in that arena. So when I got the mission, I knew what my mission was. Then I argued with God because I said, how? And God says to me, I've given you everything you need. I'm never going to give you a calling without giving you the resources to pull it off. You are a gifted communicator. You got in trouble all your life for talking. That's what you get in trouble for the most, right? So you're a communicator. So you can talk about anything. All we have to do is polish the gift. So one of the things I talk and teach is I talk about the 4 levels of gift greatness, which is identifying my God-given gift and talent or my expertise. Because right now, everyone on this call, you either got a gift and talent, which are really the same thing, or you got an expertise. A gift and talent is something you do naturally well, where you just excel at it. People are amazed about your gift. I use the analogy of a cheetah. I say a cheetah is born and designed to run 70 miles per hour. It's locked in the cheetah's DNA. And I've never seen a cheetah confused about its gift of speed. But I see us confused about what we do exceptionally well, right? Everything in nature's got a gift. An eagle can spot its prey from 2 to 5 miles away in the air. A bat can use sonar to spot its prey in the darkest night cave. A shark can smell blood 2 miles away. So if God made sure all these creatures have some sort of gift to make his life easier, to make it excel and make it the alpha in life's race, why you think you've been plopped down here on planet Earth and you ain't got nothing that's supposed to make you an alpha in life's race? Too many of us depend on education. Education is something you learn for 12 to 14, 15, 16 years of your life. But a gift and talent, baby, is something you were born with. It's locked in your DNA, waiting to get out. Much like this seed. I'm holding the acorn seed. And locked inside this acorn seed is a mighty oak tree. The transformation process happens when the seed is properly planted in the right environment. This seed doesn't have to wish it's an oak tree. It's already an oak tree. It's just in seed form. Whatever you design to do, you are already a thing. You just in seed form. You just have to recognize that I don't get the oak tree out until I plant the seed, which is myself. So I planted myself firmly in entrepreneurship. I planted myself firmly in entrepreneurship. I use my gift of communication. I use my gift of creativity. And I use my gift of what I call fast learning implementation. Now, some of y'all wondering, what in the world is that? As a child growing up, I skipped a grade. I went from kindergarten to 2nd grade. I skipped 1st grade, which means I got the ability to process information very quickly. I have a super fast learning curve. I can learn something and teach it like I've been doing it for years. So those are the 3 gifts I operate out of on a regular basis. Now, I'd be a fool to walk into any environment and not use my gifts to give me the home court advantage against my competition.
That's right.
If a cheetah can run 70 miles per hour, you think a cheetah's not going to get out there and use that speed against that gazelle? You think that cheetah going to look at that gazelle and say, man, I feel bad. I can run 70. You can only do 60. So I'm going to slow it down for you. I'm going to give you a fighting chance. No, that's not going to happen. Yeah. That cheetah's going to hit that 70 mile per hour speed, catch his meal, feed itself, feed his family, and feel great afterwards. For some of y'all, the reason why you not moving faster in life's race, because you ain't spend no time figuring out what your gift and your talent is. You gotta know what you do exceptionally well. It is your home court advantage. We live in an adapted version of the wild, and the strongest survive in the wild.
That's right. I want to say hi to Lucky. Lucky's saying hi to us, but I want to tap in on that one too and say, yes. You know, like you said, people will focus on their education, they'll focus on their experience, they'll focus on their product, what they can put out for the world. Yes. So that figuring out what it is that is your talent, that's another thing that we've got to stop focusing on what the world tells us is considered a good talent, right? Like, oh, this is what makes you special. No, we've got to put that aside and say, no. We got to start thinking outside the box, right? And that, I love that you said it's this quick thinking and creativity and communication, because those aren't the typical kinds of things that people think about when they're trying to figure out what their own strengths are. So again, another great point to draw out there.
Absolutely. So what ended up happening for me was the 4 principles. It was figuring out my gifts. Then it was mastering those gifts, right?
Yep.
And I say master it because the way you get good at anything is you got to walk in those things on a regular basis, or you got to find a mentor. For everyone watching this call, I don't care how old you are. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how many degrees you got. I don't care what they paying you. You better have a mentor. You better have someone that has a level of expertise that exceeds where you are, because a mentor is what I call a time warp, right? People say, what's a time warp? Well, I grew up, I just happen to have this here. I grew up, I know it's backwards, guys, but I'm a Mario fan, right?
Me too.
Nintendo. I grew up with Super Mario Brothers, so I saw this toy and I had to buy it. It reminded me of my childhood, right? And so the way you can beat Super Mario Brothers quick and fast, you find the warp zones, you find the time warps, right? There's certain pipes you go down.
The pipes.
Playing the game for 45 minutes. If I go down this warp zone right here on board 1, 2, it skips me to board 4. So I ain't got to play all of board 3, right? And if I found the warp zone on 4, 2, it takes me all the way to board 7. And then one more board, I'm at board 8. So instead of playing the game for 45 to 60 minutes, I'm beating the game in 15 to 20 minutes. Why? Because I find warp zones that exceed me and push me forward. When you find a good mentor, when you find someone who has excelled in the arena you want to walk in, they got the t-shirt, the coffee mug, most importantly, they got the victories and the defeats. And I say the defeats because I learn more from your mistakes, your failures, and your setbacks than I do from your victories. Because I'm walking the same walk you walking, I'm going to encounter the same mistakes, the same setbacks, the same demons, and the same challenges. So I got to know how you beat them, so it makes it easier for me. But when I get the right mentor in my corner, it supervents my learning curve. So what normally would take me 20 years to do, I find myself excelling in 5 or less. You got to have a mentor. You got to have a mentor. If you don't have a mentor in this stage of the journey, for some of the people on the call, I am their mentor. But if you don't have a mentor in this stage of the game, you are playing with the most valuable resource you have, which is time. And once time runs out, the game is over, right? So if we want to hit that high mark of success, we got to find a mentor, preferably somebody who has done and walked the walk and walked the talk that I'm trying to walk. That's why I have Les Brown as my mentor. Les has been speaking for over 50 years. He's spoken over 51 countries. And he's known for telling people, I know a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two. So if he knows a thing or two because he's seen a thing or two, do you think he could teach this brother a thing or two by hanging up under him and learning stuff? And understand what a really good mentor is not about them always sitting down and having a verbal conversation, as Les has told me many times from the front of the stage. Some things are taught and some things are caught. So when you find a good mentor, you want to shadow that mentor. Because a lot of times you can catch wisdom by watching that mentor in action. You don't always have to be there having a verbal conversation. Don't get me wrong, the verbals are great. But sometimes if you just watch how they carry themselves, you'll pick up on nuggets of wisdom and gems where you just start filling your treasure chest. You just start catching stuff, right? Because it's so valuable to you. You got to find a mentor. So that's step number 2.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I agree 100%. Mentors. And I love the message too that like, it's okay if you skip levels. It's okay if you get success. It's okay to be successful. Like, that's such a good message to teach people too, is like, it's okay if you really excel quickly. That's like, yeah, go do that. But I love this idea of mentors too. You know, I view mentors as I find them everywhere. I look at everybody as a mentor. I don't want to just attach myself to one person. Yeah, I've got people that I go to, but then I view everyone as a mentor because why would I limit myself? If I can learn something from this person that's going to jump me ahead a level, I'm going to do that.
All for it. And there's mentors in every arena. There's mentors in success in life. There's mentors in business. There's mentors in marriage. There's mentors in there's mentors for social media, how to handle your media, right? There's so many different mentors out there that take you to the next level. So step number 1 is finding out my gift. Step number 2 is mastering it. But step number 3 is crucial. And I kind of said it earlier, is putting your gift in the right environment. Because believe it or not, your gift is not designed to operate everywhere. Let's go back to that cheetah real quick. I said a cheetah is known for running 70 miles per hour on African terrain and soil. But if I take that cheetah by the scruff of his neck, pick him up, take him to the North Pole, drop him, and say, have at it, you know that 70-mile-per-hour speed can't do nothing for him on ice and snow, right? He got there running and slipping and sliding like, what in the world is going on? I can't catch nothing, right? So the idea being is this. My gift truly came to life when I figured out the right environment for it. When I found out the right environment for it, right? And so that's what got me over to the speaking side of the fence. I was using my gift in corporate America. I was climbing the corporate ranks without the college degree. Why? Because folks would come in saying, I'm qualified, I got the degree. But I would use my gift of communication to turn the edge back on me. The world loves a great communicator. I tell everybody, even if you're not going to get on stages and speak, you got to learn how to be a great communicator. The person knows how to talk and hold attention will oftentimes get the keys to whatever they want, hand it to them. So if you're not a speaker, I suggest you join either a local Toastmasters organization just to get a little bit of profound wisdom on how to be better articulate with your words to command the room, or get a coach, quote unquote, a coach. I teach. Right? So number 3 is, you know, I got to put my gift and talent in the right environment. The other thing is this. When your gift and talent's in the right environment, your genius comes to life. On Facebook the other day, I posted a comment and I said, I'm a genius. The world ain't figured it out yet. And then I added a second post too. I said, facts about it. Everybody's a genius when they're in their right environment. Watch this. If I take a fish out of water, throw him on the ground and say, hey, fish, climb that tree. That fish should just flop around. I say, look how stupid that fish is. Look at it. He can't do nothing. Hey, fish, go over there and run across the street. And the fish will just flop around and can't do nothing. Look how stupid that fish is. But if I take that fish and drop him back in the water, that fish's genius comes to life. Why? Because the fish is in the right environment. I'm talking to somebody today where they've been told all their life, you stupid, you're not a performer, you dumber than the rest of the class. I'm talking to someone who has believed these lies from parents and educators that said you dumb. Baby, you not dumb. It's just they were trying to get you to force your gift in an environment that wasn't conducive to the activation of the gift. When you figure out the environment, when you figure out your water, your fish inside of you will come to life. I love Michael Phelps. I believe Michael Phelps will go down in Olympic history as the world's greatest Olympic water athlete. But if you take Michael Phelps with all those gold medallions and drop him in the briny deep against a great white shark, Michael Phelps will get dusted. Because the great white is at home in the ocean and you can't outswim a great white. That's his genius. That's his natural environment. Now, let's flip it back on Michael Phelps again. Notice Michael Phelps won all his gold medals in water-related athletes and water-related sports. You didn't see Michael Phelps out there doing the high jump, the 40, Everything that Michael Phelps won was in a water-related environment because that's where his gift comes to life. That's what makes him genius. He knows his environment. You didn't see him out there trying to do the shot put and hurl javelins. He played in his environment, and that's what made him dominant. There's an environment that's waiting on you and your gift to have a merger to say, baby, I do for the rest of the time. And you'll watch your genius and you'll watch your success. You'll watch your money. You'll watch your happiness. You'll watch all that stuff explode and come to life because you figured out the right place. You got to figure out the right place.
Absolutely. I could not agree with you more. I think everybody has exactly what you said. They have their genius. It's just a matter of aligning them to the right spot. You know, there are so many people, you go somewhere and you have an interaction with an employee and you're like, how do you work here? And it's like, I know this is not where you're supposed to be. Please go find something else. We all get frustrated. I'm frustrated. You're frustrated. Go find the right thing for you. Go do it.
Well, you know that happens because people take a paycheck over purpose.
That's right.
And what I tell people all the time, if you're taking a paycheck over purpose, you got it backwards. Number one, money is the reward for solving a problem. So right now, we got people on this call tuning in that's frustrated with their paycheck. And the reason you frustrated with your paycheck because you spending 40 hours a week trying to solve a problem God never ordained you to solve. He gave you a gift. He gave you a talent. We're going to talk about expertise last. We're going to bring it home with that. But you're not even using your gift and talent at that job, right? Let me put it this way. I remember working at a collection agency. It was one of the last jobs I had before I said, this is not it, right? And I floundered, right? I struggled. I would literally, the work started at 9 o'clock. I would be out in the car at 8:50. I'll be out 8:59 in 32 seconds when I left the car, right? And I made sure I got in the clock in. And then when it's time to go at 5 o'clock, I had my coat on and everything at 4:30. I'm ready to go, right? When you're doing something you love, you're the first to arrive, you're the last to leave.
That's right.
People gotta pull you off that job because you're working in your passion and your purpose. And when you walking in the right thing, money will never be an issue, right? I always struggled with money when I worked in environments that wasn't my purpose or my calling. The moment I start doing what I do now, I get to name my payday, right? So I'm getting paid what I desire based on solving the right problem. Money is the reward for solving a problem. If you don't like what you're getting paid right now, baby, you spending your gift and talent 40 hours a week solving a problem you was never ordained to solve. Get ready to walk away from that job and let someone else fill that spot, right? And then go after where you're supposed to be at. As kids growing up, we would have assigned seats in elementary class so the teacher would know where we are. Some of y'all are sitting in the wrong assigned seat. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
That's it.
Some of y'all sitting in an assigned seat that does not have your name in it. So you got to be willing to say, hey, I'm gonna chase my calling and get paid what I'm worth versus settling in something I definitely don't want to do.
And I just want to draw back attention to where your story started here, right? Because people might hear that message and say, yeah, but you have the money, you can afford to do that. And it's like, remember, you were living in your car. You were living in your car. There are going to be points where, you've got to take the paycheck to support your dream. But if you're not taking that paycheck with that goal in mind to support your dream, then you're just going to burn yourself out all day long. So I just want to remind people that where you came from, you know, you don't always... so let's bring it back.
I don't ever want to get somebody twisted on that. My journey from homelessness to success, there was strategy.
Yes.
We see all these stories of people, I'm an overnight success. No, there's strategy behind this, right? And so I haven't covered strategy. We'll add strategy in if we got time because there was a strategy I used. I didn't just walk out there blindly. God gave me the vision. Now that I know where I'm going, now I got to figure out what tools and resources do I use to get there. That's the key, right? So the fourth principle I want to talk about, we said identify the gift. We said master the gift. We said put the gift in the right environment. But most importantly, we got to control the gift. And if you don't get nothing else tonight, I need you to lean in. I need you to lean in. You see
We're listening.
Off my head. I'm so excited what I'm talking about. I need you to lean in. Listen, this is something I've never seen. I've never seen a cheetah designed to run 70 miles per hour, run out there, catch his meal. And as opposed to take that food back and feed itself and feed his family, make a small little detour at the local lion's den. Lay that food down at the foot of Mufasa and the rest of the lions, take a giant step back. And while all the lions is like, for us? You did this for us? You caught, whoa, really? You caught this gazelle for us? They just excited, ripping that gazelle to shreds. King Mufasa said, hey, Cheetah, come here. Let me talk with you real quick, man, because you MVP of the week. Listen, I love how you was out there running 70 miles per hour. I mean, I wish I had your gift of speed. I mean, me and the crew, we get together, we could take down a wildebeest using muscle, but you was zigging and you was fast. I mean, you was on that gazelle's tail, man. I mean, you boom like that. And then you just brought it back to us. No questions asked. Tell you what, we left you a little bit of leg, left you a little bit of rib. There's a little bit of thigh sitting over there in the corner behind the bushes. Help yourself to the scraps left over, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Now, I like to pause when I say this. Because folks is thinking, like the little cloud, and they thinking it's generating, because something don't make sense, right? They think, wait a minute. Why would the cheetah do that? You're absolutely right. The cheetah would never do that. No predator goes out there, puts in the effort and energy to catch his meal, only to turn around and voluntarily surrender it to another predator and then say, I'm cool with the scraps, though. You can give me the scraps. I did all the work. You can give me the scraps. I'll tell you what, I've seen this, though. I've seen us do it every single day. Because if I don't know the real power behind my God-given gift and talent, I will get up every single day, busting my ass 40 hours a week, just for the scraps left over, when it's my effort, my energy that ran out there and caught that prize. And I'm getting a piece of the scraps left over. I'm not saying you got to be an entrepreneur. That's not what I'm telling you. I'm not telling you to quit your 9-to-5 job. Don't you get off here and say, Kareem told me to quit. I didn't tell you that. But I'm telling you to look deeper into your gift and talent and make sure you're not trading your gift and talent for less than its true worth. The last job I had as a corporate trainer paid me $20 an hour. That was good money back then. The last speaking engagement paid me $8,000 to speak for an hour of my time. What's the dramatic difference? Why $20 an hour over here and $8,000 for a 1-hour presentation keynote? Because on this side of the fence, I knew my gift. On this side of the fence, I knew I had mastered my gift, right? I knew my gift. I mastered the gift. I put the gift in the right environment, because as a corporate trainer, I'm still using my gift of communication and creativity and fast implementation. But the thing I wasn't doing over here that I was doing over here is I was in control of the gift. See, technically, the person that controls your gift controls your payday. That's the one lesson school can't teach you. School can give you education, but they can't teach you how to walk in your gift voluntarily, because most of us have to discover the gift. They don't have classes sitting around unless you go to like a school of performing arts. Most regular schools don't have classes sitting around saying, we're going to pull that gift out of you. We're going to figure out what it is. So for the parents on this call, this is why it's super imperative for you to pay attention to your child at an early age and see what their gifting is. What do they gravitate towards? My daughter, when she came out the womb, would get a pack of colored pencils and begin to draw. I put Barney in front of her. And you know, kids could not resist Barney back then. I love you. You love me. She would turn down Barney and get the drawing. And she would freestyle it. And I said, that is that child's gift. You know, she ended up selling artwork, redecorating furniture. That was her first business, I think, like the age of 15, right? So that entrepreneur gene was there, but her gift and talent showed up about the age of 3. If you're a parent, you gotta pay attention to your kids at an early age and help them foster that gift so they get a fighting chance when they get out, and they don't voluntarily take their gift and talent like that cheetah and surrender it to the lions and the other predators in this industry. Because let's be real, in a money make money society, people will use you and get over you all day long, and they have not a problem with it. They'll watch you struggle and live below your means while they live in high on the hog, right? Taking trips all over the world, living a super fast lifestyle. Some of y'all following y'all bosses on social media, feeling a little envious, and you should. You help them get that car. You help them take that trip. You help them put their kids in that private school. I'd be envious too if my gift and talent was creating that lifestyle for them, and I could use it to give myself that lifestyle. Whatever it is you need to be successful, the Almighty has already put it inside of you, but you got to discover what's locked inside. And I'll round it with this last piece, right? Because I said gift and talent, but I didn't say expertise. Gift and talent is something you're born with. And expertise is something you have mastered over many years of your life, and you've done it so well that everyone's asking you how to do it. When I learned real estate, because my journey out of hell, was, this is the vision God is aiming me towards. Now I got to figure out what resource gets me there quicker and faster. So my journey originally, it wasn't speaking, it wasn't real estate. My journey originally involved vintage toys from my childhood, right? I'm trying to look and see if I got some here I can use as an illustration. Normally I got some. Give me 1 second. Let me pop it real quick. Normally I got something on me, right? I have one of the greatest, what I call 80s man's caves. I'm an 80s baby, right? So look at me and Op. Me and good old Optimus Prime, right? So my journey out of hell started originally by God giving me an idea. He took my passion, which at that time was collecting vintage toys from my childhood. I was going to get a piece of my childhood back. And I went from collector to dealer. I would find parents whose kids had moved out the house and they wanted that bedroom cleaned up. So they took all their G.I. Joe figures, all their He-Man, all their Transformers, all their Barbies, all their strawberry shortcakes, and we'll put them on eBay for 40, 50 bucks. And I was buying up box lots, cleaning them up in my free time. I still had the 9-to-5 job, right? The 9-to-5 job I picked up paid the bills. That's it. The eBay business was the hustle money. I didn't touch that. I let it build, right? And so before I knew it, I was making more money selling toys on eBay than I was at the 9-to-5 job. Epiphany moment. What if I could take 40 hours that I'm giving them for this little paycheck and put it solely behind Kareem? How fast would I grow? This is why you got to understand the value of taking control of your time. Your job is not paying you for your education and your degrees. Your job is not paying you because they like you and you're so good at the company softball league. They're not paying you because you're so good on the company bowling league. They're paying you because you are voluntarily giving 40 hours of your time to make them wealthy. And until you understand that reality, you can't play the game the way it's supposed to be played because you're playing it with the bias. Some of you have loyalty to a job that will cut your throat tomorrow if you miss too many hours of work. If you die tomorrow, before you are buried in the ground and the obituaries produced, your position's already up on Indeed.com. They already hired for it, right? So we got to put our priorities in the right place. You are your plan A. Everything else is plan B. So the eBay business, I picked up a job. The eBay business was the hustle money. The job paid the bills. The eBay money, I was stacking, looking for an opportunity to invest that money in, right? I invest that money into a mentor who taught me real estate, going back to step 2. That mentor taught me real estate. I paid $7,000 for it, right? And then I worked for her for 2.5 years afterwards. I paid $7,000. She taught me a real estate technique that made me $8,500 by flipping a house that I never owned. It's a technique called wholesaling, where I put the house under contract and I flipped the contract, not the house. I flipped the contract for $8,500. And then 30 days later, I did a different property for $9,500. And so that was 18 grand in my pocket right there. Wow. That was my nest egg. See, with some of you, the reason you ain't left that job because you ain't got a nest egg.
That's right. Yeah. There's not the plan, right? And I want to go back to what you said there. You are your plan A. Yes. You are your plan A. Now, I come from a corporate world. Again, I'm an engineer. Engineer. So yes, my company needed my training in there.
Training, yeah.
But again, I was approaching my job with this idea that I was there to make them, for them, to do that job. And even though, and it wasn't until I had that same epiphany where it's like, wait a minute, I'm killing myself here all day, every day. Yes. And all I'm doing is helping this company. It's not helping me at all. So I had to start backing off and learning how to not give quite as much, understanding that they will cut you out and replace you, no big deal. So starting to take care of myself and prioritize myself first. Yes. That was my step 1, right? That was my first, wait a minute. And then you have that, what am I doing this for somebody else for? I have got to be my priority.
Plan A, yes.
Plan A.
I'm glad you said that, because my dad, when we moved from Gary, Indiana to Cincinnati, Ohio, he was an engineer as well. He worked at General Electric. They were paying him a great salary back then. He had all 3 of his oldest kids. We were all going to 3 different private schools. Not the same private school. We were all going to different private schools. That's how much money we had coming in. And when GE let him go, the problem with most of us, we took our lifestyle off our income. They was paying him so well that he could not find another job paying that income. And we lost the house to foreclosure. We had around 14 rental properties. It was a domino effect. So entrepreneurship settled in my heart really quickly because I went through that storm and I watched that house of cards fall. Yep. You would think because of his title and his degree, it made him safe. But if you're not the CEO of the company, you don't have a say in what happens every day you wake up. You can be the model employee. You can show up every day. You can be the first to ride and last to leave. But if they got to cut budgets to save money, the highest paid typically go first because they're going to try to do more with less. And they gave them a 1-year severance package, but it was not enough to stop the domino effect that I watched take place at an early age. So for me, I knew I had to be my plan A because I watched that man work so hard to build over a 20-year time frame, and they took it from him in 3 years.
Exactly.
They took it from him in 3 years. So I tell everybody,
exactly
you don't have to quit your job, but you still are your plan A, which means you better have multiple streams of income coming in. You cannot depend on one stream of income in this day and age. If you got a high dollar salary, you better be diverting that money into something else where if I go through a season where I'm laid off or sit down or shut back, I still got income coming in so my lifestyle doesn't go flop, right? So let's talk about expertise. I know Instagram does an hour, and I'm here with you. So if it kicks us off, we want to jump back on. We can rock it. I don't have a problem.
Hey, I'm here to talk. This is a great conversation. Yeah.
So what I'm saying to folks is this: we know about the gift and talent, but we got to tap on expertise. Expertise is something you do so well. People knocking on your door asking, hey, how do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do this? Can you help me out, right? They're always picking your brain. They're always asking you how to do certain things. The issue being, when people start asking you again and again and again, there should be a light bulb that goes off like, I should be charging for this, right? That's expertise. I have done real estate so well that I can teach real estate. I can put a book out and make money on real estate. I can have a coaching program on real estate, right? I can do a podcast strictly on real estate. Multiple streams of income from one expertise. The same thing with the speaking business, right? I know how to speak so well that I can teach speaking. I have a coaching program on speaking. I have books on speaking. I have multiple streams of income off of one expertise. For everyone on this call, you have a gift and a talent, and you also got an expertise. You got something you do so well. People have been picking your brain for years, and it hasn't dawned on you light bulb moment. How do I start charging for this, right? I know somebody, when this is just an odd one, right? Where they can walk inside your house and literally compact everything. Like, you know, you go to one of these department stores, and all the clothes is nice and folded, nice and neat, right? So it makes room. They can go in your bedroom and do that like that in an hour and give you all this room. Just fix your cabinetry up and everything else. And I'm like, you got a gift. You should be charging for this because people will pay you for this, right? They ain't gotta start throwing stuff away because you know how to compact and make room. You could put out a course or a book on how to fold and put stuff away nice and neat so people can do it on their own, right? And they don't see it as an expertise, so they won't charge for it. And I go, what in the world? Like, the entrepreneur in me is trained to see money. It's trained to see money. Like, I can talk to somebody for like an hour and go, money. I'm gonna smack you to get the money. Like, you know, you played Sonic the Hedgehog and he get hit and the rings go everywhere. Sometimes I just want to slap people and watch the rings go everywhere. Look at the money that fell out because you're talking stupid. God did not put you here without a way to survive outside the traditional norm. You got a gift, you got a talent, and baby, you got an expertise. But until you sit down and learn how to know who you are and what you're sitting on and the resources you got, man, you are never going to pull out the maximum peak performance potential that's designed to come out of that camp called you. I'm just a guy who went through a hard luck story. I got aligned with the right person, which is God. I asked God to give me a glimpse of my destiny and show me what I'm supposed to do, right? Because for many of us, the reason why we got a hard time with this, we ain't got no clue what we're supposed to do. So we think our life is getting up, going to work for somebody. No, baby, you're here for much more than that. If your life is just to get up and get a paycheck, what happens if that job lets you go? You're here for more than that. So once I figure out my reason why I'm here, now I can divert my resources towards seeing that mark, right? Hitting that mark, finishing out that race, and then riding strong. And most importantly, once I make it to the top, I got to turn around and start pulling other people up here with me. People keep saying it's lonely at the top. Well, baby, it's lonely at the top because you ain't doing a great job of pulling other people up here with you, right? You got to turn back around and say, man, you supposed to be up here with me. You supposed to be up here with me. I ain't supposed to be up here just taking these super fly vacations by myself. We all supposed to be able to say, hey, we going out of the country, right? We all supposed to say we driving new whips. We all supposed to say, man, I had a $30,000, $40,000 week. We all supposed to say that. So if you at the top and you say it's lonely, who you supposed to be bringing up there with you? Because you're not supposed to be there by yourself.
Absolutely. I love that so much. And I just want to tie this back to your fourth point, which is about controlling your talent, because I feel like that's where so many people reach that point of just they check out of their life because you feel like you've lost control of everything. So really it's that understanding that you should be owning your talent and your place in this life, and you need to have control over your finances and the choices. You know, and that's where that difference is as long as you're working for somebody else, that's going to hang over you like just a shadow weight. And, you know, I think that's so important. But I love this message, too, of like, yes, absolutely, bring people along for the ride with you. We're all supposed to be having fun. Like, let's go do it.
Well, here's something I left out. And I'll say this again, environment is crucial. We talked about the seed earlier. We said the seed doesn't transform until it's planted in the right soil. Environment does a lot for bringing out your greatness. Environment does so much for bringing out your greatness, because as Jim Rohn said, man, your life will mirror that of the 5 people you hang with the most. One of the hardest things I had to do, and I got to hang my head in shame. If I had some alcohol, I pour a little out for the homies. I had to fire some of my 9-to-5 peers. I had to fire them. And the only reason I had to fire them, right, because I knew where I was headed to. And since I knew that my life will mirror that of the 5 people I hung with the most, the reason why I was so hanging on to the job and the paycheck and the security, because I was mirroring who I hung with. Let me explain this in a different way. Because again, I'm not telling anybody to quit their job. I'm just giving my journey, my story, what worked for me, right? As a child growing up, my mother had a little bit of say over who I hung with, right? Like many of us. There were certain kids, your parents, no, you can't hang with them. But why? They bad. No, oh, no, they fast, they steal, they cuss, they no. Because your parents know if you hang with them, you're going to be like them, right? And so we know that in the negative sense. But if that law works in the negative, why are we not trained ourselves to understand it works in the positive, right? Meaning that if I hang around super successful people that's out there crushing it, they accomplishing their goals and dreams, they big movers, they big shakers, they doing the daggone thing. Why do I not think if I hang around them, I'm not going to become who I hang with, right? So one of the things I had to do is fire the people who didn't have what I want and start to hang and hire the people that did. When people say, man, why Les Brown? Do y'all think that's accidental? There was nothing accidental about saying I want to infiltrate your world, because I will mirror that of the 5 people I hang with the most, right? So if I want to be successful in any arena, I better start hanging with people that are already crushing the thing that I want to do. It's going to make it that much easier. What happens is my mind becomes transformed, and this becomes the new norm. Now I hate to go back to my old lifestyle because I want the new norm. Anything I wanted in life that I didn't have, I started hanging around someone that had it, or I found someone that had access to it. I remember the hardest vehicle I had to get was a Porsche, right? Because when I grew up, nobody had them. It was the luxury car, right? You see maybe one Porsche every 3 months shoot past, unless you lived in like Beverly Hills or something like that, right? So one of the things I started doing is start hanging around folks that had them. I began to manifest it quicker and faster. You have to program your subconscious mind for the things you want and eliminate the things you don't. The thing about the subconscious mind, so many people fail to understand. The subconscious mind does not discriminate. It does not discriminate. It will take any thought you feed it on a repetitive basis, and its job is to make that goal and dream your reality. So the more I started hanging around people that hit the lifestyle I want, the more I started spotting it. I tell people all the time, and this is going to be for everyone on this call here today, everyone watching this powerful interview, right? For most of you that bought a car in the last 5 years, you probably never noticed your car till you decided to buy it. The moment
now it's everywhere.
Car, now you see that car everywhere. Like, it's in red, it's in blue, I didn't even know they made it in teal green. Like, now you kind of mad. Now my car don't feel special. Everybody got it. Now that the cars just manifest because you decided to buy it, or the car's already there. And because you weren't programmed the subconscious mind to look for that, it didn't see it. It's almost like I can have my car keys, right? I can put my car keys down. And now all over the house, Lord, my keys, I'm gonna be late with my keys. And the keys are right in front of my face on the coffee table, but I can't see them, right? Because they've been blotted out from my mind. They haven't disappeared. They didn't magically just a wormhole of space that just dropped them. Right? They've been there the whole time. But because my mind is not focused, right? I'm not seeing them that they're directly in front of my face. So we got to program the mind for what we actually want. The problem with most of us, we let the world program our mind. And then we go after everything the world is telling us to go after, and we never come close to the mark of what it is we're supposed to have. You want to get real close to your goals and dreams. You want to pull up on the bumper of your goals and dreams and honk your horn and say, beep, beep, I'm right behind you. Get up every single day and start to load the mind up with what it is you want. Throughout the course of the day, remind yourself out loud what it is you want. It's something about speaking stuff into the atmosphere where the mind and the ears can process what you just said. I'm going to take the biblical. I can't even do that right now. I'm going to take the biblical. There's the power of life and death in the tongue. 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 mouth. 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 mouth. 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 mouth. That means there's more ways to get into the mind than to come out of the mind. That means what I look at on a regular basis, what I hear on a regular basis, programs my mind that I want. I remember the first time I said a cuss word as a kid, because remember growing up, kids didn't cuss. The first time he said a cuss word, I said shit. And ooh, you said a cuss word? But the only reason I started cussing, because I started listening to certain rap music. The more I listened to certain rappers when they started cussing, the more it came out. And it came out for me in church.
Of course it did.
All the kids are saying, ooh, I'm telling. Because what happens is what goes in eventually comes out. So if I know what goes in comes out, and there's more ways in than ways out, I got to be loading my mind on a regular basis. I tell people all the time, the only reason you have TV is because of commercials. If there were no commercials, you'd have no TV, because the commercials are to sell products. And certain commercials get played in repetition again and again and again. And the reason being is every time you see this piece of commercial, this car commercial, this beer commercial, this Doritos commercial, I'm programming your subconscious mind that when you get hungry, you want the world's best chip, you want Doritos. You want Lay's. I bet you buy the chip. You know, Chips Ahoy. They got you programmed so much that when you get hungry, in your mind, you've been fed it so many times that you immediately come to the conclusion, this company makes the best product. So if they spend millions of dollars every single day airing commercials and repetition again and again and again, and it's programming your mind to think they make the best this, they make the best that, why are we not doing this for ourselves?
Yeah.
Why are we not getting up, creating our own commercials for what we want and loading our subconscious mind up with them, so when the opportunity manifests to go from where I am to where I want to be, I move without thinking. A cheetah gets hungry and access to 70-mile-per-hour speed without thinking. It doesn't need to raise its hand and say, hey, y'all think I can catch that gazelle? It doesn't need a hype squad. It doesn't need a pep team. It don't need a pep rally. It sees its meal and on instinct, it goes after it at 70 miles per hour. What that means is this. Once you load your mind up with what you want, it goes from thought to desire to obsession. And once you hit the obsession stage, it's not a matter of if you're going to get what you want. It's a matter of the opportunity manifesting and you hitting 70-mile-per-hour speed and just going after it. I loaded my mind up with wanting a Porsche so bad. One day I woke up on Labor Day. A place in Indiana had the Porsche I wanted to make, the model, stick shift, the mileage. And I blew the whole day off. Got a rental car, said, I'm renting your car to drive one way. Drove all the way up there, paid cash for mine, and drove that joker back home. Because I loaded my mind up so intently with what I wanted that no was not going to be an option. You got to load your mind with your goal and dream on such a level that you will not take no for an answer no matter what gets thrown at you. That's what I call stick-to-itiveness, where I'm going to stick to this thing like Velcro, like glue, until it becomes mine. I have to obsess over it. What you want wants you. The problem with most of us, we don't know what we want. Or we want what other people want, right? And so we never get the results we designed to have. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that too, because I teach people about unlearning. It's unlearning, right? We don't have these thoughts because we haven't been taught that. But by the time we are old enough to realize we've been alive on this earth for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. So we have to consider there's 30 years of unconscious learning that we have ingrained into us. So it is going to take that, like you said, it's going to take conscious effort for us to rewire our brains, rewire our thinking. So yes, say it out loud, put it on the mirror, put it on the wall, say it to yourself when you wake up in the morning. Every time you feel like you're getting stuck, you've got to retrain your brain and rewire everything again. Because I'm in my mid-30s, and by the time I woke up one day and was like, what am I doing with my life? I'm like, great, I've got 28 years behind me now that I've got to go back through and like take it all apart and redo it.
You got to take the eraser and get the.
That's right.
I'm gonna take it back. I'm an '80s baby, right? So I got that old school one here, right? I got the one with the little pencil lead where you pop it out and put it back in the bag.
Yeah.
Try not to get lead poisoning.
Yep.
You got to take that eraser and get to erasing what you think you know, because 90% of what you think is fact is really someone's well-placed opinion that was fed to you by an authority that you just received without question. And that's the biggest problem for most of us. We don't realize who's been poured into our cup all our lives. And so if this person had a fear, they passed that fear on to me. One of the reasons why it was so important for me to do that, jump out that plane at 10,000 feet, because I'm at a stage where in conversation with God, I said, God, I feel stuck. I had somebody real close to me say, you stuck. You great at what you do, but you stuck. And they could see that I was supposed to be at a higher level. I'm successful, don't get me wrong. But even I knew from the beginning of the journey, I knew my story before I walked it out based on what happened on that couch. So I'm like, I know it was prophesied over it. I ain't hit it yet. And I feel stuck and I can't figure out why. And so the conversation with God, I said, God, I feel stuck. And God said, show me your fear. Pause for a second. Because I tell people all the time, the quality of the questions you ask in life will determine the quality of results. Most of the time we ask the wrong questions. So we get an answer, but it's not really the answer we need to grow and go, right? And so I asked the question again. I feel stuck. And God says, show me your fear. Because your fears that you have learned that are ingrained in your mind that you're not even aware that are working 24/7 is what's keeping you stuck. For some people, including myself, I have the fear of success. I am successful. But to go to that next level requires a different level of discipline. And the fall is much farther if you fall, right? And so sometimes we'll create a comfort zone. I got the money coming in, I got the success, I got the people around me. And God has said, I'm calling you higher. But if I go up higher, man, that's the different level of me. I got to put more in, right? I got to work a little harder to maintain that. So I don't know if I want that success. So we can be fearful of that success, right? We can be fearful of the journey. People don't realize how many people I lost on this journey. They don't realize how many close friends and relationships that I had to walk away from, or they walked away from me. And the journey sometimes can be lonely because you feel like you're walking on your own. So if you're someone that has abandonment issues, which I had for many years, I was trying to hold on to everybody. I was trying to bear hug and drag people. If I'm getting the ticket, you getting the ticket. We flying together, right? But sometimes your purpose and calling ain't they calling. Just because they help you pack a bag doesn't guarantee them a ticket on your flight. So that means that some people that be here for this season is not going to be there for next season. And you got to trust God. If they're supposed to be there, they're going to find a way to rendezvous back up with you. If they're not, God has something of higher value to be there. And I say higher value because I know how car dealerships work, right? I take a car that's old and I trade it in, and they give me a car of higher value. They don't. If I give you an 86 Buick, you're not going to give me an 86 Buick back on a trade-in. You're going to let me pick something higher. We're going to fight if you give me an 86 Buick and I gave you an 86 Buick, right? So the idea being is God is always going to give you something of greater value. He ain't going to match your trade. It's going to be something of greater. So if I give you this, I got to expect something greater in return. I don't know who I'm talking to. For some of you, that job you're holding on to, there's something greater that comes in on that trade-in. For some of you, that relationship you're struggling with, there's something of greater value coming in that trade-in. You got to have an abundance mindset of such a level that you know no matter what happens, I don't have fear because greatness is always being drawn to me every second of every minute of every day, 365 days of the year, and I'm sucking in greatness every 5 seconds. So yeah, I got to walk away from some stuff, but I know it's being replaced and replenished with something of greater value, right? Yep. So that's why it's so crucial that we got to get this program. I can be gifted. I can be talented. I can have an expertise, but if this ain't right up here, that gift and talent makes someone else rich. That expertise goes unnoticed and makes someone else rich. It creates a lifestyle for someone else. It doesn't give me what I need, right? It's back to that cheetah mindset. That cheetah ain't got no confusion over how to use this 70-mile-per-hour gift of speed. Ain't no confusion. Ain't no cheetah out there ripping and running, feeding everybody. It's feeding himself and his family. I'm encouraging everybody on this powerful interview, you got to be the cheetah. I want to see you access cheetah-like speed. Find your gift, find your talent, figure out your expertise. And then most importantly, program this up here so you get the desired results. One of the easiest things I do on a regular basis is I use my cell phone. I got my alarm to go off at certain times throughout the day, and it has a blurb that pops up with the alarm that speaks out the manifestation I want. So before this book went bestseller, I had a blurb going off at 5 in the morning saying, you are the author of GPS My Success, a #1 bestseller on Amazon.com. And you know that alarm keep going off till you turn it off, right?
I love that. That's great.
The screensaver has the manifestation. So I'm always seeing what I'm going after. So I'm programming every second. How many times we hold our phones every day? We're looking at them, right? That's the easiest way to manifest is by having it on the phone. Because people, listen, you'll leave your job to go back and get your phone. You leave your phone at home. Oh, I got to go get my phone, right? You know, so people will leave, they run out to their car for their phone, right? It's an essential part of life. So why not use the technology to help me be more successful just instead of using it for what everyone else is using it for? That's thinking outside the box.
Yeah, I love it so much. And honestly, you keep tapping on things, and I feel like we could talk for the rest of the night here, but I do.
Absolutely.
So many good things here, but you know, I just want to, can you give us a wrap up here, because I love your story so much, and I again, this message is to empower people to take control of your life, your health, your happiness, because that is in your hands. And I love the message that you've shared with us today. So can you give us a nice wrap up here?
I got a nice wrap up for you guys, right? So I need y'all to lean in again, because I'm about to go deep. I don't want to drown nobody. We talked about identifying your gifts and talents and your expertise, right? For many of you, that's how you turn your life around. If you look at anyone who's super successful that wasn't a trust fund baby, they figured out their gift, they figured out their talent, and they figured out their expertise, and they knew how to control them properly to create a powerful, game-changing result in their life, right? But the thing I did not cover was strategy. So I'm going to do that real quick. It's going to be real fast. And for those guys who want to go deeper, I encourage you to go to Amazon.com. The e-copy of this is still up online for $2.99. That's changing by the end of this month. So $2.99, get a copy of this in e-format. It is a very simple, easy read. This is the strategy and the structure I use to escape the 9 to 5. This is my takeaway, right? I tell everybody your life mirrors a GPS. A GPS is useless till you figure out where you want to go. 5 things about using the GPS real quick. Number 1, you got to set the address. The GPS is useless till you know where you want to go. So number 1, we got to get up every day and set an address for what the destination is. Number 2, I got to be connected. GPS works on connected technology. It connects with a satellite. It takes me anywhere I want to go in real time. Who do I strategically need to connect with in this season? Mentors, coaches, organizations, folks like us on social media that can help me get to my finish line quicker and faster. Number 3, I got to be aware of dead zones, right? Dead zones are places where I lose my signal. If I'm driving and I hit a dead zone, I'm driving blind because I don't have Wi-Fi connection, right? Some people are hanging around, walking, talking, living, breathing dead zones. For some of you, it's the job. For some of you, it's your family, your friends, your peers. You got to understand who and what and where your dead zones are and get the hell away from them, because every time you get around them, you lose your signal. You ain't got no bars. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yep. Let them go.
Because you losing focus and you driving blind. Number 3, you got to move with clarity. A GPS gives crystal clear instructions. Right now, you're either moving in clarity or confusion. Don't get it twisted. You're either moving in clarity or confusion. Confusion keeps you in loops. Clarity gets you moving, right? Number 4, you got to be willing to recalculate. What that simply means is this. When you're driving in a car and you hit traffic, the GPS doesn't just say you're going to sit in this traffic for 2 hours. It starts to recalculate alternative routes to get you to your finish line. If you make a wrong turn, it starts to recalculate. What I mean is this. Just because you got a goal and dream in mind does not mean that you're not going to run into hiccups and road bumps and traffic jams along the way. When that happens, are you going to call it quits and go back home? Or are you going to be willing to recalculate, understanding there's more than one way to get to your fantastic finish line? There's multiple routes. Are you willing to explore? And then number 5, you got to check the history log. I tell people all the time, if I check your history log and see what address has been in that GPS for the last 30 days, it tells me where you've been spending your time at. Because the address determines your destinations. For many of us, we spent the last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120, 365 days putting everyone else's address into our life's GPS, and we frustrated because we ain't going where we supposed to go. We're going where everyone else is telling us to go, right? So I got to check the history log on a regular basis to make sure I'm driving towards my destination and not spending my time chasing everybody else's, right? So if I can do these core principles on a regular basis, and soft plug, if you didn't catch it, didn't write notes quick enough, I'm not going to revamp it. Get your butt on Amazon. Listen, if you can't afford $2.99, you got a bigger problem than this conversation. If you can't afford $2.99, your problems go deeper than anything I can help you with. I'm just being honest. If you can't pull $3 out your pocket, you in major trouble, right? But the idea being is, I got to get up every single day and set the journey for my life, because I only get one life while I'm here, and I got to make it the best possible one I can. Remember, money is the reward for solving a problem. Get up and choose and be selective of the problem you solve. My name is Kareem Ellis, speaker, teacher, trainer, #1 breakthrough strategist. If you're not connected, I'd love to connect. Send me a follow request. I don't bite, and I'm so appreciative that I could spend my time with you guys this evening. I love you, the word Les Brown. There's nothing you can do about it.
All right. Yeah, thank you so much. Everybody go buy that book. Go check out Kareem's profile. Give him a follow if you're not already. Thank you so much for joining me. This was such a great conversation. I had such a good time. I'm being inspired. I'm like, I got to stay tuned and have conversation here instead of just listening.
We got to do a part two. We got to do this. Was fun. We got to do a part two. Absolutely.
Yeah. All day long. We'll get it on the calendar. We'll let everybody know when we're coming back for round 2. But this was so good, and I hope everybody had their little treasure chests out and was collecting all of that treasure, because like you said, you were just dropping coins all day. So I love that so much. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right.
It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure. Yeah, thank you, everybody, for joining us, and this will be up on the replay. So.
All righty.
All right. Bye.